Please rise up out of your seats. I need y'all clapping your hands and stomping your feet right now. I need y'all clapping your hands and stomping your feet right now.
After 12 years, I recently retired from being a full-time wedding filmmaker. I spent over a decade chasing perfect wedding moments. The first kiss, the decor, the joy, the tears, and I loved it. But near the end, I was ready for something else. Two years ago, we built a house in the woods, and our backyard connects to a beautiful state park. And before I knew it, my wife and I fell in love with the trails, hiking there about 3 times every single week. I definitely got hit with the hiking bug, watching tons of YouTube videos on hiking and spending a small fortune on nature books. About a year ago, I found a book from 1986, a collection of photos from one of the most beautiful places I'd ever seen. The book became something of an obsession. The photos in it felt like memories I hadn't made yet. My wife knew how much I loved the images in this book, and so on my birthday, she gifted me with a trip to Cumberland Island. When she told me about the trip, my mind jumped straight to filming, and that old feeling came back when I first started filming weddings, planning, packing, obsessing over every shot. But the deeper my excitement grew, the more nervous I got. So I pulled out the book that I've obsessed with for months. The photos, they already told the story, frame by frame, location by location, and that's when it hit me. What if I could recreate every single one of these shots? That would be the perfect hiking film. But my experience filming weddings for so long, I know that even with the perfect shot list, things rarely go the way we picture them. Page 19, baby turtles. That was one of the shots I didn't think I would be able to get because that's not something that happens every day. So we hadn't even planned on going to the beach, especially with the heat the way it was. But on the ferry over, we overheard that the Rangers were releasing baby turtles into the ocean that day. And suddenly, that turtle shot seemed like a possibility. There was no way I could turn down filming a moment like this. My camera was ready, but it had already happened. That moment we came to this hot beach for was gone. Sometimes the story shifts, and when it does, all you can do is stop and enjoy the view. The beach was beautiful, but extremely hot and bright. I was glad that I brought this Tilta Matte Box with me. Without it, even at T22, half of these shots would have been unusable. And for those of you wondering why I said T22 instead of F22, it's because I filmed this trip using the Meike 35mm and 50mm Cine lens. I did not want to use autofocus. I didn't want this to be run and gun. I wanted to enjoy this time with my family and the time I was filming with a slow, deliberate focus. I didn't want this to feel like a project. I know I said it before, but I have to say it again. The heat was relentless, especially for my wife. She was starting to get heat exhaustion, and we knew we had to leave the beach soon. But just as we were getting our last view of the sea and we were about to go, we saw them. A pair of wild horses walking slowly out from the dunes. It was beautiful, but it wasn't the shot. There was one photo in the book I couldn't stop thinking about. A foal standing with his mother in an open field. that was the image that stuck with me. I wanted that to be the climax of my hiking film. But were there even foals on the island this time of the year? So this book actually has a map of Cumberland Island, but I actually have a larger map right here. On such a hot day like this, it had already felt like we walked a lot. Whew. It was hot on that beach. So the ferry dropped us off right here at the Sea Camp Ranger Station. And then we walked up here and made our way to the beach. Then my wife started feeling a little sick, and so we went back to the ranger station right here as it had air conditioning. And then after my wife rested there for maybe about 40 minutes, we walked, which I believe is about a mile right here, to the Ice House Museum. While my wife and daughter stayed inside the ice house to cool off, I stepped out to film the trees. But to my pleasant surprise, there was more than just trees waiting for me. I like to think that they were just waiting for me. It still wasn't a foal, but it was a great moment. I shot this entire trip on the Lumix S5 2X, recording straight to a 2TB SSD. That meant I never had to change cards and potentially miss a moment. We had just 2 hours left before the ferry arrived. My wife was now feeling much better after resting for over an hour. It was a lot cooler, and while I wouldn't be able to get every shot from the book, I still had hope that I could get that one shot. The foal. And maybe I'm being greedy, but that was the single image in the book that I really wanted. So we headed to the ruins. These ruins are from a mansion that the famous Carnegie family built back in the late 1800s that unfortunately caught fire in the 1950s. Now they are the home to vines and silence, and hopefully a few wild horses. Our daughter brought her own camera for this trip, the Fujifilm Instax Square One. Growing up looking at all my old Polaroids from high school, she's always wanted a Polaroid style camera, so we got her one for her last birthday. Guys ready? She loves the surprise of not knowing how the shot will turn out until the moment's already gone.
Oh, because when we move too fast out of the picture.
There is something magical about that element of surprise. Now, with just an hour until the ferry arrives, we made it to the back of the ruins. First, we see a raccoon, which was random, and some more lone horses. And then we walk a little bit further and we see 2 horses and a foal. Well, it may have been a yearling, I'm not entirely sure, but in that moment, it was a foal, and I felt like I got the shot. So there was a nearby bench, and my wife and daughter and I just sat and watched for a while. And after we made it back to the ferry, we spotted another foal or yearling. I think this one was probably definitely a yearling that was just chilling in the shade. So I switched to my 50mm so I wouldn't have to get too close, and spent a few minutes filming it before we hopped back on the ferry. With only about 5 hours to explore, we only saw a small section of the island. While we were there, we could only explore this little section right here, which probably about 3 or 4 miles. We still have this whole section that we eventually want to see. We'll definitely be back, more than likely in the cooler months. And next time, maybe with an even bigger book. After hanging up my hat from filming weddings full time, this trip really helped me rediscover my creativity. And hiking has given my camera's purpose again.